Now for Perry Como, 2 cassettes, $19.98, 2 CDs, $26.98, plus $4.95 shipping. Call now.
You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Chicago prepares to hit the streets and dig out of an almost all-time record snowfall, but some additional snow and high winds along with blowing and drifting will make the digging out difficult. More than a foot of snow is also blowing around in Detroit. Travel is difficult, impossible in some places. And now the big winter storm is moving into the northeast. Its icy assault on New Jersey in the early morning hours this morning created this massive pileup on Interstate 80. Attempts to travel home from the holidays will be a tough one for many of you who try today. Good morning. Welcome to this special edition of Weather Center. I'm Rick Griffin. Well, we begin here in the Forecast Center with a look at this big winter storm that has put the brakes on activities in the Midwest and now threatens the Northeast with a wintry mix. That is one aspect of the storm, the sleet and freezing rain. Now strong winds of 35 to 45 miles per hour are blowing mild air into New York City. It's up to between 40 and 45 degrees. From the Tidewater south, scattered thunderstorms still in the weather picture early this morning. And of course we have snowfall, which has been record-setting in parts of the Great Lakes region. In fact, stationed on the scene in the Windy City, as he has been since the first flake of the snowstorm occurred a couple of days ago, is the Weather Channel's Jim Cantori. Good morning to you, Jim. What's the latest?
Good morning, Rick. 21.6 inches now at O'Hare. That's the updated record snowfall. Of course, that is second all-time with respect to historic records, and no doubt very, very close to the January 67 storm where they had 23.3 inches. So, you know, we squeeze out another couple of inches and we're going to be right there, but we don't think that's going to happen. What we're concerned about today is the wind and also the wind chills. It is freezing this morning. It's only about 13 degrees, and the wind is starting to whip up a little bit. And that's going to cause not only the wind chills to go down well below zero, but also cause the blowing and the drifting of snow. And that's really the big concern. Look at the job that the IDOT did and the Chicago Sanitation Department on these roads. I mean, they are virtually clear, at least here on Dearborn Street. Now, don't get the feeling that this is the entire Chicago area. I mean, it does not look this good everywhere. The suburbs have a lot more wind than we do. Lakeshore Drive is still snow-packed and closed, by the way. And we do expect that to reopen a little bit later on. Now, the airport, some good news. Because of the weather, they're trying to get most of the flights off today. Only 400 people spent the night on cots in O'Hare last night, considering the 230,000 that were expected to pass through O'Hare. That is phenomenal news. And I think a lot of people just took heed, Rick, and just said, okay, I'm not even going to show up at the airport. And that was a wise choice because there weren't any flights at all except for maybe a handful that got off the ground last night at O'Hare Airport because of the adverse weather. And we do expect things to improve today at the airports. But folks, if you've got to fly to the east, where the weather has gone downhill as a result of this storm, you're not going anywhere. Even though it may have improved in Chicago, you're going to have problems getting onto the east. But so far, so good. No major accidents on any of the major highways here in O'Hare or in Chicago yesterday. Can you believe that? What a great thing, given the fact that we had 21 inches of snow. We'll keep you posted here from Chicago. Right now, let's go back to Rick.
Thanks a lot, Jim, for that report from the snowy, windy city. Once again, 21.6 inches of snow. Thanks, Jim. We'll check back with you in just a little bit. Now let's go to our winter storm specialist, Paul Kosin, who joins me here in the Forecast Center. Paul, we know the snow is winding down in the Midwest, but the moisture is now moving into the Northeast, and we have some major icing in some spots. That could perhaps include Boston and Hartford. But let's start in New York City. What's the situation for the Big Apple southward through Philadelphia and Washington, D.C.? Actually, the major concern in New York and Philadelphia is going to be the next several hours of heavy rainfall. So there actually might be local street flooding in addition to the heavy rainfall. But once that rainfall moves out, conditions should rapidly improve. But in the interior, in the valleys anyway, the cold air remains trapped, and we've got a major icing situation and tremendous travel headaches. We don't have Mike Seidel this time, but he's in the Capital District in Albany, and it's still between 10 and 15 degrees with rain at times, and that's freezing instantly on outdoor objects, and the highways are very slick. Right. Right now, though, the worst portions that are experiencing the freezing rain are some of the interior portions of northeastern Pennsylvania and quite a lot of central and northern New York. So they're getting heavy rainfall. Temperatures in some areas are only in the teens and lower 20s. At the mountaintops, we're seeing some temperatures that are rising into the 30s, but in the valleys, you have to be very careful because there's a lot of that water that's freezing almost immediately. Well, here's a look at radar, Paul, and we can see the rain heavy at times in Philadelphia to start down there, but it's near 50 degrees, so there's no icing problems. We get up to around New York City. The winds are coming in strong off the Atlantic, so it's up in the 40s now. But you were telling me just a little while ago that it's right in here, northeast Pennsylvania, upstate New York, lower Hudson Valley north, and then over into southern sections of New England, where you think probably the worst, the most treacherous conditions will be for the next few hours. Right. As a matter of fact, in downtown Boston right now at the airport, it's 30 degrees, and we see that precipitation just about starting there. In Bedford, just to the northwest of the city, it's only 19 or 20 degrees. So within just a very short distance of downtown Boston, it's going to start off very bad conditions. So essentially from about 128 and 495 west, very slick conditions. Hartford below freezing rain occasionally in the Hartford metro area, Springfield, Massachusetts too, but here you go. New York City's 43 and Philadelphia's 54. Cool air has been flirting with Washington.